Kanye West, he would be facing sex trafficking charges if it was anywhere.
Gene Deal has publicly named 5 major celebrities he claims were deeply connected to Sean Combs, also known as Diddy. The claims are so disturbing that many viewers are now asking why 50 Cent allegedly removed these details from his documentary. Gene says these names weren't cut for time, they were cut for impact. He insists the public deserves to hear these connections one by one. The first name he raised in his latest interview was Usher. Gene pointed to Usher's own past statements about being exposed to things at a very young age that no child should ever witness. To Gene, those words alone raise serious red flags.
You just saw it. It's probably a lot of stuff. Look at Usher. What Usher say? I seen some things I shouldn't have been seeing at that age. What does that tell you? That he's seen some things, he was around some things when he was young that he shouldn't have been at a Diddy party. So that's going to show you that there's certain things that are happening that's going on that here it is, this kid was saying he shouldn't even seen it.
To the implication Gene draws is chilling. He believes Usher was placed in environments that were completely inappropriate for someone so young, especially under the influence of powerful adults. But Gene didn't stop there. He claims something far more disturbing happened during Usher's time around Diddy. An alleged incident so severe that Usher was reportedly taken to the hospital. To Gene, this moment was deliberately left out of the documentary.
A certain feeling, and I felt a certain way when Usher got on Shay Shay, and I don't mean to mention other people's platforms, but he got on Shay Shay and he mentioned how great and how good Puff taught him and everything. You know what I'm saying? About the business. Right? I know, and people know, that was around that in that time that Puff and Usher did have a situation. And that situation led Usher to the hospital. Now I let Usher explain that to y'all. I let Usher tell that story. But how dare you say a man that groomed you, you gonna give him a pass? Bro, you know I know.
Gene argues that Usher himself has subtly referenced this trauma over the years, even if he never explained it outright. That's why Gene says it makes no sense to see Usher later defending or praising someone who may have harmed him during his most vulnerable years. To Gene, that contradiction isn't loyalty, it's survival conditioning.
Let me reframe you on something. Remember Usher? We was at the Swiss Hotel. Puff had Kim in the room. Had one of Keith Sweat's baby mothers in the big room outside the master bedroom. He came outside in his robe. She gave him a fellatio right there. His back was turned to me. She gave him a fellatio. You knocked on the door. I came and opened the door for you. Puff went in the room. You came in the room and kissed that girl dead in her mouth. Now I'm telling that because you taking up for somebody that you know and a lot of more people know didn't do you right.
Gene then shared a personal memory to explain why this subject still haunts him. He says he witnessed behavior firsthand that made it obvious the environment surrounding Diddy was unsafe, especially for young artists desperate to fit in. According to Gene, one of the most disturbing incidents involving Diddy and Usher was intentionally censored because of how horrific it truly was. He claims it was serious enough to send Usher to the hospital and serious enough to scare people into silence.
I heard about some music executives from the industry back in Harlem. You know, I heard it from some music executives back in Harlem. And I'm not going to speak on their name. They doing programs and everything like that. And they may be doing something, they may speak on it themselves. But I heard it from some music executives.
What did you hear?
Bro, you know how people be talking and we was around some people, something like that. And then some people might say, yo, I don't F with that dude. And at the time, I didn't even know who the F Usher was. You know what I'm saying? It was one of those type of situations. And when people say, yo, man, I don't F with them niggas. Man, I'm getting out that industry and everything like that. You know, Puff sent this little kid to the hospital. How he sent her to the hospital? Man, nigga was bleeding from the butt. And that's what was said. But I didn't even have a name for the kid at the time.
Gene says this proves something important people in the industry knew. What was happening, but staying quiet was the rule. He then shifted to what he personally witnessed involving Diddy and Jamie Foxx. Gene says he can only speak on what he saw with his own eyes. He recalled meeting Jamie Foxx on a tour bus during a hazy trip. At first, the energy seemed casual, even friendly. But over time, Gene claims he realized Diddy and Jamie were involved in disturbing behavior toward women that went far beyond partying.
Some friendship stuff, and it was a tour bus, and Puff was in the back, and there was a lot of girls in the front, and Jamie was just real touchy-feely, but Puff didn't come out the back. I don't know if Puff came out the back of the tour bus. You understand? And Jamie went back there for a minute or so, then he just came out, and he was all touchy-feely with the girls, and I'm looking at this dude like, wow, this dude kind of like touchy-feely with these girls, and he don't even know them. They know him because he's Jamie Foxx, but he didn't know them. So I don't really know their real relationship or how close they was. I didn't meet Jamie Foxx and really have a conversation with him until—
What makes this even more unsettling, Gene says, is Jamie Foxx's long-standing reputation for partying with Diddy and participating in what insiders called freak-offs. Jamie has even joked publicly about teaching Diddy how to party cheaply, a comment that now feels far darker in hindsight. Gene then raised a question many are now asking: why was the Federal Bureau of Investigation ever around Diddy? Was he known to authorities long before the public realized? Gene doesn't claim answers, but he says the timing is suspicious. The next celebrity Gene says was quietly removed from the documentary is Ja Rule. According to Gene, their story began in Atlanta during a tour stop. He recalls Diddy walking into a specialty store with ease, a place Gene had never seen him enter before. What shocked him most wasn't the location, but how comfortable Diddy seemed inside.
I went to an exotic bookstore, with Puff. I didn't know he even did that, but we was in Atlanta. So when we went to the door, they gave him a brown paper bag. So I guess this is a place that he was used to and people knew him there. So when they gave him a brown paper bag, Puff was just going around the store, just picking items off the shelves and stuff like that, putting them in a brown paper bag. So then, I was behind him and no Diddy, but I was about 3 feet behind him, as he was putting stuff and putting it in his bag and stuff like that. So there's one particular place that he was put up there, he had to reach up kind of high and get it. So he just started pulling things out, and he was pulling a lot of them off there. So I was like so I looked up and the thing said butt plugs. When he walking down the things, butt plugs. I said, hey, yo, just to mess with him. I said, hey, yo, what are you getting these for? And he said, can I do my shopping by myself? I said, yes, you can. And I waited up at the register for him, because they had the big counter up there. So when he came to the counter, I said, yo, I'm finna see what this motherfucker this mofo is putting in his bag. Cause I know he gonna have to take everything and put it on the counter so the dude could count it, right? My man, when he came there, he gave the dude a wad of hundreds like this. So he gave him a wad of 100 and just put it up there. The dude ain't even, what I'm saying? He ain't even want to know what was.
And after that stop, they boarded a private jet, headed to North Carolina for a show, with Ja Rule traveling alongside them during the flight. Gene says Diddy repeatedly pressured Ja Rule to go after Jay-Z musically. Gene wondered if Diddy was trying to spark a war or manipulate the industry behind the scenes.
They went to the room. I don't know what they were doing in there. I didn't give a shit. But Puff told me, Gene, do not let nobody. You don't want to be up in that room because there was a whole lot of freaking shit going on.
The group stayed in a massive hotel suite filled with people eating, drinking, and socializing. Later that night, Diddy, Ja Rule, and several women disappeared into a private room before the door closed. Gene says Diddy gave him one direct order: do not let anyone else enter. Gene believes that moment wasn't random, it was calculated.
Z and Puff was given an assignment. So they was back on the East Coast.
Gene added that Diddy was known for placing people in compromising situations to control their decisions later. That night, he believes Diddy was steering Ja Rule's career in a very specific direction. Whether Ja Rule will ever speak publicly about what allegedly happened remains unknown. Gene then moved to Jay-Z, explaining why he believes Jay-Z and Diddy were far closer than the public has been led to believe. According to Gene, their connection wasn't friendship, it was business. He claims they shared a goal, keeping East Coast rap from regaining dominance.
It's enough. Nobody called me Sean but Jay-Z. Now, I don't know what kind of statement, and I can't say, I wish I could say half a homo, but I know I can't say it. But I don't know what kind of half a homo that is. And you trying to say that you're not close to somebody. You coming on stage, patting them on their ass, and then you making a broad statement to the public. Can't nobody call me Sean but Sean Carter.
Gene says the industry had a deeper problem. Labels didn't want to keep paying massive advances to New York artists when Southern rappers were achieving platinum success on smaller budgets. Instead of fixing the system, Gene claims they suppressed East Coast talent. He believes this is why 50 Cent struggled early on, eventually leaving New York to find real opportunity elsewhere. According to Gene, East Coast rap was always destined to return. One artist, he says, was about to bring it back in a major way, Pop Smoke.
I was so close that expect him to remember, but I remembered. You understand? And he told Puff, he said, yo, Puff, yo, I heard about that Gene right there. That Gene got a mean left. Oh, you said that Gene a knocking out. Then he gonna come up to me and say, man, you look like, man, you a tearing the ass up. And I said to myself, I said, yo, no Diddy. Pause. Whatever. I said, he don't even remember. I was about to knock him the F out. He didn't even remember. He said to me to Laura. But that's how these guys are.
Gene concluded by saying the industry never truly wanted East Coast rap to rise again. Every time it came close, something stopped it. He admits there's no proof, only a pattern he's observed for decades. In his view, Jay-Z and Diddy's relationship went beyond business. He claims they joked about personal matters and shared a level of familiarity most people refuse to acknowledge. Gene says many industry figures live in a bubble, creating chaos without consequences until reality catches up. Finally, Gene addressed the biggest name of all, Kanye West. He notes that before Diddy's arrest, Kanye openly criticized him. Now, suddenly, Kanye appears back in Diddy's orbit, even wearing clothing that signals public support. Gene says this flip-flopping is classic industry behavior. Maybe Kanye is protecting himself. Gene then referenced what a woman named Jane Allegedly said about a Las Vegas strip, claiming she was invited by Kanye and his wife, a story that, according to Gene, opens an entirely new chapter.